Many times people ask me this question whenever they come across our competency mapping programs. We have run about 31 competency mapping programs since the starting of TVRLS in the year 1996. Uh, People still have some misunderstandings about competency mapping, at least the way we look at it. The question they ask is that can you map my competencies, or can you help me to map the competencies of a particular individual so that I can take a large number of decisions in relation to my company. My first clarification to all those who want to map the competencies of people is that no one can map all the competencies of a given individual. No one can map all the competencies of a given individual. Competencies are contextual. All that you can do is to identify some of the competencies the person has demonstrated in his or her thought, the way he thought or the way he thinks, and the talk, the speech, the way he articulates, the way he communicates through whatever language he or she uses. So, what the person thinks, what the person speaks, and what the person acts, what the person does. Quite often, it has been said that you have no idea of the thoughts of a person. There are mechanisms like I think TAT, ask the person to write a story, ask the person to complete a sentence, etc., etc. There are ways, but they cannot measure all the competencies of an individual. They can only measure to the extent you can create certain stimuli and make inferences on the basis of how the person writes a story or completes a sentence or interprets a given kind of a situation. You can make some decent kind of inferences, but I don't want to guarantee that you are right. So capturing thoughts and assessing competencies is a difficult kind of a task. Then what about what the person talks? The many tests that have been created which talk of situational tests. You ask a person hypothetical kind of situation and ask the person how he or she would react, respond to this. Or ask a person what the character in the situation should be advised to respond. It has been found that there is no guarantee what the person says he or she will really do. In other words, spoken word cannot be with 100% guarantee taken as an indication of what the person does and therefore may not necessarily be an indicator of his competence. It may at best be a wish, it may at best be what the person felt at that particular point of time. It can at best give one of the alternative ways in which this person thinks is this. You can never measure competencies. Third thing is actions, what the person has done. And I think that's a good idea. If you look at, I think, the life story of an individual and look at all that the person has been able to do, then you can come to some kind of a conclusion. This person is capable of doing this, and so on, and say this seems to be the competency underlying characteristics. Mind you, you must remember all of us are victims or beneficiaries of the circumstances, starting from the family in which we are born, the surroundings we had, the kind of a schooling we had, the kind of teachers we had, kind of jobs we had, the kind of opportunities we had. So that means that if you want to infer the competencies of a person on the basis of whatever he or she has done in the past, our assessment of the competencies is limited by the kind of exposure the person has had and the kind of thing the person was able to do. For example, it's a very simple thing. The person desperately wanted to be a doctor, but his parents or her parents suggested that that's not the way to go, they can't afford, or it's a long kind of a education, and better than that will be engineering. Having agreed to go for engineering, when he said, let us hypothetically say, he would want to go for a chemical engineering, whereas I think the parents have said no, chemical engineering is not right. I think what you should do is at best civil engineering, because I think these are the days where civil engineers are in demand, and those engineers who joined PWD departments made a lot of money. Construction is in the rise, and therefore we suggest you to. So assuming that this particular person who wanted to be a doctor and then something else and something else ultimately ended up as a civil engineer. Now, in civil engineering, it again depends upon the kind of company in which he happened to work. So, supposing he worked in a particular kind of a company which got into a lot of disrepute from day one, and therefore I think he didn't have much of an opportunity to make any great kind of a difference. Now, you ask this particular individual at the age of 30 or 35 uh, to narrate the kind of things he has been able to accomplish all his life and identify his competencies. I think it will be futile. You will only come across those competencies he exhibited in civil engineering as a student. Remember that he never wanted to be a civil engineer. Or before that, the competencies he exhibited, I'm sure you and I can understand what kind of pressure the parents would have had on this individual when he was a student or she was a student. And then the kind of experiences that he had in this loss making or disrepute making civil engineering company where he probably had to struggle a good part of his life. So the competencies you're going to conclude about this individual are extraordinarily limited by the kind of background that he has had. Therefore, I think the blind spot in Johari window, the talent that is known to him and known to others, the talent that is known to others, not known to him, the talent that is known to him alone but not known to others. I think these are the three, what we call as the windows. But the fourth window, the undiscovered talent, remains large with this particular kind of an individual. For example, if this individual is to be, for some reason, is to be exported to United States of America, where I think he happened to join a particular kind of an organization which was in the business of drilling, and which I think got him an exposure, and where he pursued his dreams. At the age of 35, he joined a medical college, and maybe he pursued his dreams and what he wanted to become, and he became a great medical person, a general medicine kind of a person, and did wonderful jobs. You never know what he would have. Or instead of getting exported to America, suppose he got exported to Indonesia, and then he did altogether something different. Or got sent to another country like China, and then did something different. Or to Sri Lanka, or to another small part of India where I think there were some drilling operations going on, and he happened to join a company in a state like J&K, and where I think a large part of his life he has spent only as a civil engineer. I think maybe wasted his life. You just don't know what is the capability of an individual. So friends, a large part of our talent or competencies remain undiscovered all the time. Therefore, if you want to say that you want to map the competencies of an individual, all that you can aspire to do is what the person has demonstrated in the circumstances that were available to him or her. So we must remember all competencies we map of an individual are consequence of the circumstances. And supposing you say that no, I want to also discover his thought. Yes, that is possible. Even in mapping what the person has done, you only have limited to what he has actually done, but not necessarily what he wanted to do. Suppose you dive deep into his thought process, maybe it will give you a lot more idea about his attitudes or her attitudes, values, what the person stands for, the kind of dreams that this person had, and maybe you find that this particular person has wonderful ideas in terms of, let us say nowadays, how coronavirus could be contained. He is not a medical man, he is a civil engineer, but because he probably somewhere has an in-depth kind of an aptitude for this, and he probably is filled with all kinds of ideas. It's quite possible he happened to be in a government job given as a civil engineer, or in a company which the company assigned him the task of managing coronavirus. Maybe he would have done a marvelous kind of a job. or maybe he would have helped, he joined the HRD department and helped the organization to manage work from home in such a lively way, because there is some medical human service instinct in this particular kind of person which remained untapped and so on. So, all this long lecture, I want to conclude only to say that we can never map the competencies, all the competencies that a particular individual is capable of, has. All that you can do is identify from his thoughts some of the kind of attitudes that he reflects, and from what he speaks, and from the communication he gives, some of the again traits and qualities which are constantly demonstrated, and from the actions, the kind of circumstances he has had, and which demonstrated the some characteristics which you call as a competency. That is the reason why I normally tell people it is futile to map the competencies or even attempt to map all the competencies of an individual, because you never can map the competencies of an individual. So therefore, what do we do in competency mapping? In competency mapping, what we do is to identify the competencies required to perform a particular role, particular job at a given point of time. Not only at a given point of time, normally jobs are stable, except I think in these days, I think we are saying jobs may not be very stable, but by and large, I think there is a certain amount of stability. The role or the tasks that are associated with the job doesn't keep on changing every day. In the recent past, for example, a doctor job may have changed phenomenally due to COVID-19. However, once the COVID is over, all the doctors will be back to square one in terms of whatever they are doing. A heart surgeon will be doing heart surgeries rather than talking about COVID. A gastro specialist will be dealing with gastric issues, and a diabetologist will deal with diabetics issues, rather than all of them at this point of time concentrating on COVID-19. So they will be back. Normally, in any company also, jobs are reasonably stable. So what we do in competency mapping is to identify the competencies, knowledge, attitudes, skills, values, motives, traits, and the kind of a self-concept one has that is required to do a great job, that particular job very well. So competency is required to perform that particular job or identified. Now, not by interviewing necessarily the person who is doing the job, I think he or she is the last person to be interviewed. Normally, by interviewing all those who conceptualized the job, who are supervising the job, who has expectations from this particular job holder, and so on, in the past and also in terms of the future and in the present. So we identify people who matter. Normally we call them as role set members. Role set are all those people who have expectations from the role holder, and ask them, what do you expect this particular person to do, and when can you say that this particular person has done a great job, and things like that. So we map the competencies required to perform a role, and not that of an individual. Individual competency mapping is altogether a different kind of a game. Once you have mapped the competencies, knowledge, attitude, skills, qualities, etc., required to perform a given job well, that is what we call as competency mapping, which starts with the activities or tasks that are involved, the purpose of the job, interviews all those who are involved, and then lists and identify the competencies. After that, if you want to assess whether a particular person has demonstrated these competencies or not, then you start applying whatever competencies you have identified and start searching for methods of assessing these competencies. So these methods of assessing the competencies are called competency assessment tools, whereas the process of identifying competencies needed to perform a given job is called competency mapping for that particular role. So in competency mapping, we normally learn about competency identification for a given role or for a given function or even for a given kind of an organization. We don't measure competencies of any particular individual. That is altogether a different kind of an exercise, and as I mentioned earlier, no one can ever measure all the competencies of an individual. Even in his lifetime, he or she would have demonstrated only a small part of them. Thank you very much for listening to this long talk.